Hi, how are you? Excellent, perfect, thank you. Thanks everyone. Welcome to SHMOO. Suresh and Mallory will be joining us anytime, so thank you. And this is the note well. So this being Thursday, you've probably seen it way too many times, but still, please do look at the BCPs if you have any questions regarding the policies. And if you're in the room, please put yourself in the on-site participation tool so you can actually ask questions at the mic or make any comments if you want. And if you're not speaking actively, please wear your masks over your nose and mouth. Thank you. And with no further ado, we get started. Thank you. So it's going to be a really short meeting, so I will take the minutes. So we're not looking for a minute taker, so just keep going further. Going through the deliverables itself. So there's like, we had a couple of deliverables. We had 2 RFCs published. So thank you very much for the authors and like everybody who commented. So we had like the cancellation considerations and running an IETF hackathon. So they've both been published as RFCs. And we have like 2 documents that are still left on our plate, where we have working group documents, and we, like Mallory has completed the working group last call on it. So the next step is really to progress these documents further. So there's like, I think like pretty much all the comments that have been received have been addressed. So, and Martin will have a short question for the working group now. And after this is complete, our goal is really to progress the documents after completing the last call comments and all those things that are addressed. And our intent is to drop all the other deliverables. So we had something about cadence, like how many on-site meetings, how many virtual meetings we're going to have. So all those things were like potentially work items. Similarly, technology requirements, like, so should we have new tools? Should we use existing tools? All those things were really stuff under consideration when we got chartered a couple of years ago. Same for hybrid meeting planning. But we didn't have any drafts in the recent past that materialized for this. So our goal is to drop these deliverables, like, and just go ahead to close the working group. So, and Mallory, did you want to add anything for that?
I would just say that the dropped deliverables, the cadence, I just wanted to, for folks who've been on many couches from before SHMOO was chartered, you might remember one of the proposals coming in was maybe we could reduce in-person meeting cadence to only 2 times a year and have the third one remote. Again, this was pre-pandemic and everything. I just wanted to say that I think the outcome of having robust remote participation for all 3 meetings that happen every year is actually a really wonderful outcome, rather than thinking of in-person, online, that I think is a good outcome. So there's a queue now, though. So go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Mallory. Martin, did you want to go ahead with your question? Thanks.
Yeah, well, this is related to what you're talking about. What happened to Mark Nottingham's draft that he presented a couple of IETFs ago? Did we just not progress that, or?
Yeah, we didn't hear anything further, right? Like from Mark, like we can probably go check with him. But I think the plan would be like, if there's interest in that in progressing that, we can either talk to Lars now. Like I can probably check with Mark like after, because
Yeah.
like we did ask for what he wanted to do with it, because it got referred to us from Gen Dispatch, right? It wasn't proposed here.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like sitting in somewhere in between. So we can check with him, see if he wants to do something with it. If not, we can just like go ahead. But I think Lars has also offered to AD sponsor stuff if there's
Okay.
something that comes up like in the near future, right? But
Yeah.
I think this is a good point to kind of declare success, as like Mallory was saying, right? Like we kind of made quite a bit of progress during the pandemic, like, and we've done pretty well, right? Like, and like, so if there's like something that's like maybe corner cases or stuff like that, we can actually handle it now. And so like, I can certainly take it as an item for myself to go check with Mark to see
Yeah,
what he wants
okay.
to dispose.
To be clear, I'm not strongly advocating
Oh, that's-
for this group to take that draft. I just thought it was a loose end. Thanks.
That sounds good. So, but we did ask him, right? Like, I think last meeting cycle, we kind of did chat with him to ask for it. Thanks.
Lars, I got SHMOO AD. So so I'm not gonna let you adopt it. because the energy is out, has been out for a while. I want to close the working group. You're right. If there's additional work, either on those milestones that we had that we're dropping now, or other related things, I mean, that's gonna stay open. I'm willing to AD sponsor it. Gen Dispatch can like dispatch it to me, and then I will decide what to do with it. But I think the working group can go.
Sounds
And
good.
thanks all for participating. This might be the last SHMOO meeting.
Thanks. And yeah, and the final thing is really the mailing list will remain open. So the mailing list predates the working group and it'll stay open. So we can have all the fun conversations that we had before the working group was formed. We can have it after as well. Thanks. Martin, did you want to have your other question now? Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Had I known I was the only agenda item, I maybe would have proposed we cancel the meeting, but here we are. The online meetings draft is through the working group last call, but I was going to do an editorial pass on it. And then like, I think it's kind of caught halfway between being a historical record of our pandemic experience and like recommended best practices going forward. And it's listed as an informational draft. So like, how should it be written? Is it primarily a BCP that has some informational background, or is it an informational document with some like, here's some things you might want to try? And is like BCP the appropriate, if it's currently informational, is BCP the current proper status? Like, how should we shade the content?
Lars Eggert, I'm not going to let you change the status either.
Okay.
So it stays, well, it's an information document that got accepted, and let's keep it as such, I would say, unless you strongly object or anybody else strongly objects. Because I mean, it seems, well, I don't really care super strongly, but do you?
Well, enough to have this agenda item, but I'm not gonna like.
I'm bonus higher for a BCP than for an informational document. Sorry, that was inappropriate. But so I don't think in practice it doesn't matter, right? Also because I think we found with a lot of these documents that we've written, right, that the lessons from the pandemic have shown us that they sort of apply in general, but maybe the aspiration of having BCP level guidance is a bit too strong because things didn't develop quite as we planned, and we learn all these things because it's the first pandemic that any of us has been in, right? So we can make it BCP because the other ones were BCP. I think it's still more of an informational thing anyway.
Sure, and to be clear, like there are parts of that draft that have never been field tested, like the scheduling algorithm. So fair enough. Lars, before you run off, is it okay if like editorially it's sort of written like a BCP, like with 2119 words, etc.?
That is fine for me as an AD. If you think they make the document clearer, I don't mind leaving them in.
Okay.
Charles?
Yeah, Charles Eckel. So, I definitely think we learned some valuable things going through this. And so to the extent the document can capture those and share not just exactly what happened, but kind of where we currently are. I think like what was mentioned, the thought of, hey, we actually remote participation is working really well, And with that, people might choose to only go to 2 meetings in person out of the 3, but the IETF isn't, at this time deciding to make one a forced virtual for everyone. So I think some of those types of thinking, that type of thinking, I think came out of our experience. So it would be, I think the document right now kind of is on the fence. It kind of gives some guidance for how you might want to do things. And then it also, in some cases, as you were mentioning, it just says, this is sort of what happened. And that guidance and that learning is important, I think. So I'd like us to capture it. If it's informational, then hopefully that's not too controversial.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is go ahead and do that, Martin. Do this editorial, pass as informational. It will be like, the PR will be a lot of words, but will not have any substantive change in what it's saying.
Cool, thanks.
One clarification then. So then it wouldn't go through another working group last call. We could just kind of, everyone could look at it, and if they
I think we'll just probably have a hold off period saying like there's a new draft, like, if you have some comments, like give it like 2 weeks or so and on a hold on timer, and then like progress it if nobody complains. I think like one of the other things, like if Lars was saying that if you do this, you need to recharter. Like if you want to change it to BCP, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's really not worth it. So I'm with Lars on that. Yeah.
Okay, that works. So I will have that PR ideally by Thanksgiving, certainly by the end of the month, and then we can move forward. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks. Ted, you had your hand up and down. Did you want to say something, or has it been said? Okay, thank you. Stuart, did you want to say something?
I didn't want to say something serious, but with the end of this work group, I want to express my gratitude for the ironic scheduling that the Stay Home Meet Online working group was given the largest room.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you. Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah, we are done. Right. Thank you very much. And I'll put up a slide with one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite authors. So long, and thanks for all the fish. So thanks. Thanks all for coming, and enjoy your rest of your session. Like there's some really nice cappuccino. Thanks, Ted, for the cappuccino.
It's a stadium.
You did it.
Thanks.
There's a scene at the very end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off where he comes out and says, "It's over, go home." You might need to play that to the room.